Jerry Taggart was on commentary for us. Jerry, we can still see the pictures. Jordan James there had given Leicester the lead. It looked quite good at half-time, didn't it? Harry Winks is looking pretty disappointed. Does he share the feelings of yourself, of probably the Leicester fans tonight?
Yeah, I think so overall, Dan. I think obviously the second goal was always going to be key in this game. Yes, at 1-0, Leicester still looked a bit comfortable, but you're always running that little risk, aren't you? You know, Phil Parkinson would have had a big half-time team talk. We're still in the game. Let's not panic. And obviously, well, the changes that he made, you know, they come on and obviously made the difference. In saying that, you know, Leicester had an opportunity to clear that ball. They didn't clear it, and Wrexham took full advantage. So overall, you'd like to think that they'd be disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Wrexham, probably these pictures from the Wrexham manager and the Wrexham players and the Wrexham fans probably sums that up, Jerry, that they're much happier with that point.
Yeah, I think overall, you know, Leicester controlled the game for large parts, but you always had this little sneaky feeling, although they didn't have the quality on the counter-attack, you know, to finish any opportunities that came their way off, there was just always that little sneaky feeling, you know, if you don't do everything spot on, and it was always going to be a tight game, you know. For large parts, Wrexham here sat back, soaked the pressure up, and they did it well. They worked their socks off, and they finished the game the fitter team. You know, they looked the fitter at the end of the game. Leicester obviously had the better quality, but again, just huffed and puffed slightly. And mostly you put that down to Wrexham. You know, they were well organised, they were stubborn. The goal itself is a fantastic because of a quick play, but we never really seen that quick play in the second half. And then you're always thinking, well, if Leicester don't get that second goal, Wrexham, will they get a chance? Will they get another chance in the game? And they did, but it came from, you know, not doing the basics right. Simple as that, Dan. And if the basics had been done right, then, you know, there was an opportunity for Leicester to come off the pitch with a hard-fought 1-0 victory. In fairness, Brob had still had a lot to do. It's a fantastic finish from him. But I have to reiterate that, you know, it could have been dealt with before the ball got to him.
That is the voice and pictures of Jerry Taggart, who is on co-commentary duty for us. He will stay with us for this post-match chat. Ewan Roberts and Matt Elliott are joining me, Dan Bates, here in the studio. Ewan, you were nodding along with what Jerry was saying there. Clearly, you're in agreement that it was an avoidable goal to concede.
Yeah, and with the point that Tags made about we weren't sort of sharp enough in the final third in that second half. I thought we started the second half really well. For 15, 20 minutes, Wrexham couldn't get out of their own half. You know, we were zipping the ball back without sipping the ball about really well, without really creating any real opportunities to get that second. And, you know, we saw it on Friday night at the Hawthorns. You know, West Brom 1-0 up. Always knew that the next goal was going to be crucial. They had a great chance to win it through, I think it was Marja who missed a chance. And, you know, we go and equalise in the 94th minute. And one thing Wrexham can do, they can score. You know, they're the joint third top scorers in the division. They have got a threat going forward. And ironically, on 75 minutes, I've turned to Marty and gone, they've not had a shot on target yet. And what happens a minute later? Nathan Broadhead is a fantastic finish, but in my opinion, he should never have been given that chance. I mean, you've got Yannick Vestergaard, who's 6'5", 6'6", in a foot race with Lewis O'Brien. They both sort of get there at the same time, and he gets knocked off the ball far too easily. I just don't quite understand how that happens in... I mean, if he just goes and wins the ball and clears his lines, kicks it out for a throw-in, or even gives a corner kick away, then you get a chance to regroup, defend the set piece, and you clear your lines. But I just can't accept that he gets knocked off the ball that easily from maybe the smallest player on the pitch.
Yeah, that was slightly bizarre, wasn't it, how that occurred? Because, I mean, I said to you when that happened, I was like, I think because he was struggling to keep up.
Yeah. He was always
on
getting there,
terms
wasn't
of,
he?
yeah, in terms of pace, that he didn't have a chance to properly lean into the challenge. But I saw it again, and I was like, it's gone shoulder to shoulder. O'Brien's sort of gone under him a little bit, I think. I don't think he's prepared himself enough for the physical contact. And O'Brien has been really solid and strong and bounced him off. And that was the key factor in conceding that goal. But yeah, it's huge. I was going to say hugely disappointing. Yeah, I suppose it is. It is, really, because Leicester, as Jerry said, controlled large parts of that game. They were ahead for a large part of it. And they probably should have done more to increase that lead, really. Certainly to give themselves more situations, with the dominance that they had. And I felt that when Cifuentes made the substitutions with Skip and Mavadidi coming on, not so much because of the personnel involved, but it just, I said to you, didn't I, if I was a Wrexham player, I'm going to think, right, hang on a sec, there's a little opportunity for us here. As if, because he took Digodo Reader off, didn't he, and James went forward, Skip comes on. But it just sort of signalled to me that Leicester in their play started playing as if they're managing the game, which is what coaches want their team to do. But it's got to be done in a positive fashion. But suddenly they had opportunities to play forward, they were going backwards. So Wrexham were like, okay, right, let's advance a couple of yards more and let's put them to a little bit of a test in the final quarter or final stages of the game, and that's what they did. And Leicester came unstuck, really, and the overall spectrum of the game, it was probably undeserved, but you run that risk.
I mean, I said that their first shot on target was 77 minutes for the goal. We didn't have a shot on target in the second half, Dan.
Yeah.
It's for one reason or another, it's not quite clicking in that forward area for the lads at the minute.
I don't know why that's disappointing as well, Ewan. The best example you can possibly hope for with the goal, quick, precise movement, pace of ball, passing, touch, finish. It had everything encompassed in that move. No final example. Boys, that's what I'm looking for. I didn't see it in the second half.
Yeah, really good move, Jerry, wasn't it, for the goal, particularly, obviously, Jordan James for the touch and the finish, but let's praise Patson Daka. And overall, how did you see his performance this evening?
Who's?
Patson.
He worked hard. He didn't have the breaks. Nothing went for him apart from obviously that lovely little give and goal that he provided for Jordan James. But he worked hard. It's always going to be difficult up against three centre halves. And he's probably still lacking a little bit of confidence in front of goal. Patson, and he just needs a break. He hasn't started the season. He's been given a chance tonight, and he worked hard. He's tried his hardest for the team. Got an assist for the goal. He just needs one himself now, and to get a season up and running.
Yeah, as a former forward, Ewan, do you see what Jerry means there?
Yeah, because it's not. I wouldn't say it's his ideal position because of his stature, being that sort of lone centre forward. I think I bet he'd love to play with someone like Kiefer Moore, for someone to feed off, someone to sort of get on his flick-ons. But I agree with what Tag said. I thought he worked hard. I thought first half he was probably more impressive with the timing of his runs down the channel, getting on defenders' shoulders, causing a problem. We know his greatest strength is his pace. I think that's one goal in 28 appearances now. And as Tag said, he just needs something just to come off his backside. He needs a little bit of luck. He was so unlucky in the first half. Was it Jordan James that zipped that ball across the 6-yard? And he's made a great run, and he's thrown himself at the ball, and he's literally inches away. If he just gets a touch on that, he scores, and hopefully he can go on the run. But I thought he occupied the Wrexham 3 defenders really well, especially in the first half. His movement was good. His pace was there for us to see. He just needs a little bit of luck in front of goal, and hopefully that will come. If he carries on working like he does, then that will change.
Yeah, you almost, Jerry, had that change of look, if you like, from that exact moment that Ewan was just talking about there, the ball that was flashed across by Jordan James.
And was it? I can't remember. There was 2, but that flashed across. He couldn't quite
One
get
from
the
Fast, yeah.
Fast. That was it from off Fast. Yeah, again, just couldn't quite get there. Then he's made that near post run, and he was, he was being well marshalled in that instant as well. And again, just couldn't. Obviously, this one was closer to him. Just couldn't get the contact he wanted. But Ewan will tell you, when things aren't going your way, as long as you're still making those runs, you're making yourself available. And you're still working hard for the team. That's all you can do. That is the best remedy for, if you're not playing with striker's confidence. And what I mean by that is a striker who's, scoring goals and feeling really confident. And if you're not playing with that striker's confidence, then you have to work hard for the team. And he did that this evening.
Yeah, I thought it was a tough job for Daka tonight. And I wouldn't really level too much criticism or blame on him. Yeah, he didn't have a particularly exhilarating game, whatever. But he contributed at times. But for me, he's either got to be supported more, or he's got to be provided with more service. And Leicester didn't do that tonight, really. He proved his capabilities in the build-up to the goal. Did excellently there when he got support. James was the only person who was making runs behind him, beyond him, as he did on a couple of occasions, in particular with the goal. But other than that, it was those 2 balls you were saying were flashed across goal. It wasn't. Could he have made that run earlier to get across the defender better? But no, I think that would be being a little bit harsh on him.
I think
said that.
Yeah, I think the thing is, if you do sort of make that run a split second before, I think you get caught offside.
Yeah, you're offside.
The good thing from me, he's not hiding. He knows himself. He's desperate for a goal, but he's still getting in the right areas. He's still making those runs. He's still offering himself for the balls coming in. I thought he had to sort of feed off scraps tonight, in all fairness. I don't think he had a clear-cut chance where you'd have thought, he should have done better there. But I think that's the most important thing for the centre-forward who's going through the type of run that Patson is. You've got to keep making those runs. You can't hide. You can't stop going into certain areas just in case the ball might come to you and you might miss.
The area that I think Leicester could have helped themselves a little bit more is the one I mentioned before the game, about the wide players. Many times the white ball was out to the wide players, Monga, Fataru in particular, Mavadidi when he came on. And it was 1 against 1 for a split second, but then a second or 2 later, midfielders, the 2 wide players of Wrexham's, they were back helping the wing backs. So like their 5-2-3 formation, the 2 wide players, they're back doing the midfield role, doubling up, and Leicester weren't going 2v2 against them or trying to create the overload. There was an underlapping run from James occasionally, etc. It was all a bit cramped in there, and I think I just think Leicester could release the fullbacks a little bit more to give the opposition more of a test.
I said it Friday after the West Brom game. Not just about that midfielder making those forward runs beyond the centre forward.
But it's cramped though. There's not enough space.
I said as well, you don't see fullbacks overlapping anymore.
No.
And you said at the start of this game.
Yeah,
and
but they were doubling up on Fataru.
Yeah,
and
but
Monga.
it has, because it's if we'll give the ball to Fataru, we'll give the ball to Monga or Mavididi, and then it's like, right, it's up to you.
Yeah,
you do the rest.
Yeah, and
you got to go and beat your man and produce a bit of match.
If you need options. Are lazy and he's 1v1, they've got a chance.
Yeah,
but
you need maybe a centre forward to play a little 1-2 with, or your fullback to make that overlapping run so he affects the fullback that's picking you up, which might open things up for you. Just don't think
there wasn't enough of that tonight for me.
Jerry, obviously we saw 4 changes for the game tonight. Now, there is a little bit of a break, obviously, until Saturday. You know, Saturday, Tuesday, they talk about that a lot, don't they, in the Championship? There's still, 3 or 4 days away. Do you expect then there'll be a couple of more changes again for that trip to Swansea? On Saturday, will it come in those forward areas again? How do you see it playing out at the Liberty?
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to wait and see. Steffi Mavididi came on as a sub tonight, whereas, he's been starting. And Monga has been coming on as a sub, and as soon as he comes on, for the most part, Monga's been coming on as a sub and setting the place alight. So maybe that might be something he looks at. Steffi came on as a sub, didn't really get into the game as an attacking force. Mainly for one of the reasons that Matt was saying. Wrexham were excellent when the ball was in wide areas, getting the wide midfielders out and protecting them. And so it was a difficult night for both wide men this evening. But, Monga's, obviously someone, I think is that a second start?
Yeah, in the league.
This season? Yeah, in the league. So maybe he might switch that. You might see Ayew coming back into the side. A bit more robust, especially in an away game. We'll have to wait and see. There's obviously Ricardo as well.
And Aaron Ramsey, Jerry.
And Ramsey, Aaron Ramsey, absolutely, he's back from suspension. So yeah, there's options there. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Obviously tonight, you're at home. You have to take the initiative, and they did that for the most part. It's just unfortunate they couldn't shut up shop at the back in that crucial moment.
Yeah, just prior to the goal, I was a little look on the phone. I had a look at the league table. I'm not sure where Leicester are now, but they were currently, when they won, currently second in the league. So, I think things are not all doom and gloom, far from it, but it is frustrating. 4 draws on the trot. It's a case of, you look at the table and you think, what might have been, really? But, because Leicester haven't been far off that. Certainly winning, let's say, 2 out of 4, at least.
But had they, on the flip side, lost each of those games, they'd have been down in, 15th, 16th? So,
exactly. It's still sorting itself out, the league, and it's very tight, etc. So, not taking too much notice of that, but if they'd ended up second tonight, then what a huge boost it is, isn't it? Psychologically, okay, we're up where we want to be, and we're not even firing on all cylinders yet. I think the capability is there to improve quite considerably the more they gel together. I think they're still going to be a force in this team. But some 4 draws on the trot, as tonight was, frustrating, more than mildly disappointing, quite disappointing. But there's more to come.
Yeah, and Leicester are still 5th. And we're talking here about how we are frustrated that it's been 4 draws in a row. And I think that's a fair frustration to have, Matt. But at least Leicester is still very much there. That had they held on there, then they're second. So we know Leicester have got gears to go into.
Yeah, definitely. And you saw how delighted and pleased Wrexham fans were to get that point. And I know they came back and they showed good spirit, which a lot of teams will do, but they know what a prize, a point at the King Power is for teams.
I think for Leicester at home, especially, they're going to have to get used to teams coming and sitting back and defending deep for long periods and hitting them on the counter attack. Yes, they've kept a couple of clean sheets, but they've also conceded goals, and like the goal tonight, that was avoidable, and that's what teams will try and prey on when they come here, knowing that Leicester are liable to conceding goals, and so they have to make sure that when the games are tight, we've seen it against Coventry, we've seen it again tonight, you have to make sure that you make the right decisions in the key moments in the game. If it means conceding a corner, you concede it, and these are the little issues that probably need ironing out, amongst others. There's just little issues that just need ironing out, and if they get those ironed out, then, as Matt says, there's more to come.
I think one of the issues that would occur, along the theme of what Jerry's saying here, they will target the wide players. They'll say, do a job on them. Fataru, Maradidi, Monga, probably the main threats, aren't they? The main sources of threat. Deal with them, hang in the game, and you've got a chance because something will happen at the back, as it invariably it does. So Leicester need to find a solution is the word that's normally used, isn't it? Find a solution to cope with that sort of tactics that they're going to come up against.
Yeah, I think Saturday, obviously, you're a good person to ask. You're a great guest tonight, as you always are. But
Why are
with
you
you,
always nice to him? Hey?
because he's nice to me.
Very
You're not
rarely
nice.
a word.
Yeah, 'cause
nice
you're
word
not
to
nice
me,
to me, Matt.
or Jerry even.
No,
eh?
but Ewan's nice. He brings sweets in, and you don't. So we're
Oh,
going
is that what it is?
Um,
Bribery, yeah.
The Swansea, obviously, you've seen a lot of them, as you have Wrexham. How should Leicester fans feel going into that game on Saturday? do you
I
think?
mean, they hadn't won in their last 3. They've conceded late goals in both halves. I think they've had a really good win up at Blackburn tonight. I think they were 1-0 down. They've come back to win that one, 2-1. I think they've only got 1 win at home this season in the 4 games they've played. They've signed a lot of players in the summer. I think they still haven't sort of found their. Or Alan Sheehan hasn't found his best starting 11. He's sort of, I wouldn't say he's experimenting, but he is chopping and changing it, especially in forward areas. But yeah, on the back of that really good win up at Blackburn, it could be a tricky game for Leicester on Saturday. A game that I'll be there.
And so will the man next to
Oh,
you.
you're not there, are you?
I am, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I look after you.
Let me know where you're sitting. I'll avoid you.
How do Leicester approach it, Jerry? Because obviously, as we've said, 4 draws in a row. They obviously want to buck that trend, don't they? Do they think we're going to go there and absolutely all out, go for the victory and maybe risk losing, or is it just as we've seen so far?
No, I think most teams will try and sit back, home and away. Obviously, it depends what Alan Sheehan thinks on the day of the game. But some of the football Leicester have played has been excellent, without having that finishing touch at the top end of the pitch on more than one occasion. I.e. this evening against Coventry, here as well. I missed the West Brom game, so I can't really comment on that. But the last 2 home games, some of the football has been really good. So, yeah, and you're going to hope that Coventry are going to be a bit more of an attacking threat, a bit more, not caution to the wind, but try and put the, be more on the front foot, say than Wrexham where basically they were trying to play on the counter attack for the most part. So it'll be interesting, as Ewan says. But Leicester just have to keep believing that the style of football is good. Can they get more of that one touch, giving goals, people running off the shoulders? Can they get a little bit more of that at the top end of the pitch? We've seen it tonight for the goal. It was excellent, excellent goal. Lovely, lovely bit of football. And I think, that we just need to see a little bit more of that, moving the ball forward quicker in the dangerous areas. And can they penetrate the back line a little bit quicker with a little bit more authority?
I think the only thing that's... Yeah, we've conceded silly goals, avoidable goals at times. But, I think defensively, the lads have been quite solid. I think it's the lack of sort of cutting edge in the final third. I think at the minute, that's the glaring thing for me that's missing. The creativity, the type of play that we produced for the goal. Harry Winks, sort of the quickness of passing to Jordan James, little 1-2, bang, 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 it's gone, he's through. That's what we need to do more often. It's all right having this sort of patient, slow build-up play, but as we said at half-time, there has to be a trigger point, wherever it comes from, that the play needs to be quickened up, and that's when you move the opposition defenders.
Well, hopefully we can see that be the case then on Saturday, of course, as Leicester return to action again in the Championship and travel down to South Wales to face Swansea, where both of these will be at the weekend. We'll be live on air from 2:30 for a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. We don't feel like we've not seen too many Saturday 3 o'clocks yet this season. There we go. There are still game passes available, international seasonal game passes for those of you that want to watch the action with us. If not, it's a new month, isn't it, of course, on Saturday. So what better time to get a Listen Live monthly pass available for just under £5 a month. That'll guarantee you the fact that you can listen to every single kick of every single game of Leicester City's action, whatever month that you do that. Big thank you to Jerry Taggart on commentary for us. Thanks to Ewan Roberts and to Matt Elliott for their company here in the studio at King Power Stadium. Following another draw for Leicester City, we'll be back on Saturday where hopefully they can turn that 1 point into 3. Have a great week, everybody. See you later. Goodbye.